All right, so let's go through the advanced SRV template together here and now. So your first thing on the second page is the target coordinates. You can read all of the conscious mind and subspace mind instructions on your own, but let's just go through exactly what I pay attention to as I go through a remote viewing session. First things first, target coordinates. Now, I have another video that can show you exactly how I get these target coordinates, and they're always just coming from a random number generator. As you can see, Pythonista has a target that this is a script that I actually wrote in Python, and I added this as a widget to my iPad. You can also go to the Farsight website and find an 8-number random number generator. I've actually also used random numbers sometimes from just picking random numbers that I find on the back of nutrition facts of a barcode on like a can of soda or some sparkling water or like a Nutri-Grain bar or something like that, you know, just any random numbers will do, but we prefer to use, in a more official capacity, a random number generator, one you can find on our website, or you can check another video on my YouTube channel, Aziz Brown, that has an instruction on how to get this exact widget on your Apple iOS device with Pythonista. So, the next thing you would want to do is get a sticky note or another piece of paper, or you can use your phone as well to take a picture of that, and you want to put it off to the side so you can refer to those random numbers just by glancing up to the left of the desk or wherever you're sitting at the time of doing the session. I'm standing up right now, so I'm just going to be holding my iPad and talking about everything that I go through. Let's go and write down these random target coordinates. So, it changed. 56971428. 56971428. 56971428. Notice I put a slash in between the 4 numbers. 4 numbers, slash, and then another 4 numbers. That is the SRV way of putting all of our random target coordinates over there, because we're going to write the first 4 numbers, and then underneath it we're going to write the second 4 numbers, and after that we'll let an ideogram out. So the next thing we're going to do is session number. Everything else here is for organizational purposes only. So since this is a practice session, we're going to write down session number 1 because it's our first practice session together. And then for experiment number, we're going to write down practice, because this is something that we're going to do to practice. The data type is going to be 3 if you're doing it solo, or if you have a monitor present, you're going to write down 4. Technically, you're doing this solo because I'm just a video talking to you, teaching you the methodologies. So let's write down 3. In the monitoring level, let's write down solo. The interviewer is basically going to be a monitor, but we use the word interviewer because if you're not learning remote viewing, if you're not a student at this time, and you're actually running on an actual project for Farsight or for whatever remote viewing group that you may be a part of soon, or just a personal thing that you have a monitor present for, you just write down their name. And we actually use the word interviewer because at a point, you're not really learning how to remote view exactly with the session. You're more or less, you're there at a target, you're completely blind to the target, you don't know anything except for these 8 numbers, these target coordinates, and you don't know what to look for. So the person who does know the target, who's not telling you the target, is the interviewer. And the interviewer is the one who's going to tell you, all right, now you look over here, look into that subject's mind, tell me what they're thinking, look over there, move to this event. You don't really know what to look for because you don't know what's important there. But the interviewer does. So, say for example, you're looking at Jesus, and Jesus is doing his Sermon on the Mount type of thing. You might see a guy up on the mount, but you might not know exactly that he's the person that you're there to investigate. So the interviewer would come in and say, okay, well, move to subject X. And then you go to subject X, and then the interviewer would tell you, do a deep mind probe on subject X. And then you go into the mind, and then you begin to have a telepathic communication at that point. We'll get to all of that. But that's the point of the interviewer. The interviewer is basically the person who's directing the perceptions. The remote viewer is more like a pair of binoculars, and the person who's holding the binoculars tends to be the interviewer. So it's good to make some friends doing remote viewing so that you can trade back and forth between being interviewer and remote viewer so that you can figure out the secrets of the universe together, which is infinitely more fun in my opinion. P.S. This stands for physical state. If your physical body is not okay, then tend to yourself. Put the remote viewing down for a little while and make sure that you're healthy and happy going into this. You want to be calm and you don't want to have a debilitating injury that's taking up a lot of your mental attention. So, otherwise, okay. E.S. Emotional state. If you've gone through something traumatic so far that is really causing yourself a lot of difficulty just sitting with yourself, and it's created quite a bit of emotional turmoil in you, you don't really want the emotional state to just be out of whack. And you should basically be able to gauge this just during your meditation. If you're really jittery and amped up and stuff like that, maybe meditate for a little longer than 20 minutes till you can get that down. If you've gone through something traumatic, maybe give yourself a week or something to get over whatever's been going on and allow yourself to calm down a little bit and be more at peace with yourself and in your own skin. So, emotional state, let's write down okay. I will also point out that a lot of the energy work that a lot of light workers tend to do is quite beneficial at this point, because the more your emotions are calm and tranquil, the better and clearer your remote viewing is going to be, because there's less confetti or snow globe stuff that is floating around because of any emotional or mental volatility that may be going on in your subconscious or even your conscious mind. So, advanced perceptuals. This is basically something, if you're writing down all this stuff and in your head you're saying, I know it's a mountain, I'm about to look at a mountain, you want to get that out of your head before you go forward. Because if you're thinking, I'm about to look at a mountain, then all you're going to be imagining in your head is a mountain. All the confetti that you're trying to calm down, it's all taken the shape of a mountain. And you want to make sure that you just get that stuff out of your head and push it out. And make sure that a good way you do that is with our first deduction. You basically would draw out the mountain, you might call it mountain, and then you would put the pen down and then take your hands off of whatever you're touching and put them flat on the desk if you're at a desk, or on the ground if you're on the ground, or if you're sitting cross-legged, maybe just put them on your knees or something like that, depending on if you're using a desk or if you're using an iPad or something like that. If you don't have any advanced perceptuals, let us erase this. If you don't have any advanced perceptuals, why don't you just write down none? Don't try to invent advanced perceptuals if you don't have any. If you get to this point and you don't have any thoughts that have been plaguing you of what you think the target's going to be, just write down none. Let's move on. The rest is self-explanatory. It's your name, the date, and the time. These are also just for organizational purposes, because you want to make sure that during a scientific experiment, you're giving yourself a good chance at good record keeping. So, yeah. Write your name. Aziz Brown. Maybe you have better handwriting than I do. And the date, 7 of May, 2021. And the time is 4:41 p.m. Very good. So this is our first page, so we're going to number all of our pages. Remember that, guys. Number your pages. If you aren't using the iPad and you're using actual loose leaf paper, you wouldn't believe how much of a nightmare it is once you've got like a 25-page great session and then you trip and drop the whole thing and then all the pages scatter about. You might think it might not happen to you, but no one plans to have an accident. Those accidents can and will happen the more you get into this. Be a good scientist and number your pages.